If you have one of the Elektron boxes and you are thinking of buying a sequencer, don't. I was this close to buy an Arturia keystep because I wanted to control my synthesizer with one device and do polyphonic sequencing. Turns out that the Syntakt can do that just right. It's crazy the amount of stuff that you can do. You can control tracks in Ableton via MIDI. You can send MIDI signal to any external synthesizer that you might have. You can send MIDI CC in a super easy way. It's a polyphonic sequencer right out of the box, and you can use all the parameters lock and trigger conditions that are one of the things that makes the Elektron sequencer stand out. So if you follow this tutorial and you have everything set up, this is what you can do. Okay, let's jump straight into it because we have a lot of cool stuff to cover. Let's first see how to control a track in Ableton using the Syntakt sequencer. Select one track, double-click Synth, go down to MIDI. By default, it's probably deactivated like this, but you can funk press the first encoder and then select a MIDI channel number over which you want to send data from the Syntakt to Ableton. For this to work, you just need to connect the Syntakt to the computer via USB with overbridge deactivated. Thank God, I don't like it. Then we go in Ableton, and on an empty MIDI track we select as input Elektron Syntakt and the channel that we just selected. As you can see, as I press track number 1, channel 10 gets excited here. Then we drop a kick here, put it in one shot, and then record the usual kick on the floor, and we can start the transport from Ableton and get the kick, or we can even play the kick. Okay, cool, we have now a kick and we can control it via the Syntakt, but I want to control my synths with the Syntakt. How do I do it? We select another track, again go down to MIDI, activate, select a channel, channel 1 is fine, and what we need to do, we need to open another MIDI track, select Elektron Syntakt as input, and now you see the channel 1 also get excited whenever I press track 2. So select track channel 1, and here you want to put an external instrument routing whatever MIDI comes from the Syntakt to my subsequent, and the channel on my subsequent is set to 3, and the audio is coming from input number 2. So now check this out, and if I were you, I wouldn't believe that I'm controlling the subsequent because you cannot see it. So let's open up an editor and prove that I am actually controlling the subsequent. Okay, that's great. We have a sequencer for the kick and a sequencer for the sub. If you want to hear stuff, you just have to remember to put it in. So I'm going to do the same for both. So we have the kick, and now we can record a bass line. unmute the track, activate maximum quantize, and now you can apply the great trigger conditions on length, velocity. I want to make this longer. So this is very cool, right? We have two tracks on one device controlling one kick-in Ableton and an external synth. Nevertheless, this keyboard is very small. You cannot really do much in terms of live recording. Wouldn't it be great to have a keyboard to control this so that we can input notes from a keyboard instead of with this small thingy here? Well, let's do it. Okay, so I simply connected the MIDI Freak with the USB to the computer, and now the idea is that we want to send signal to Ableton and then route it back to the Syntakt. In order to do it, we need another MIDI track and another external instrument. This time, the input is gonna be from the MIDI Freak, all channels, and the output is gonna be Elektron Syntakt and the channel number corresponding to the track that you want to control. So remember, we put the MIDI Syntakt track in track number 2, so we're gonna send signal to that. It's a bit of a weird loop. It goes from here to Ableton, from Ableton to the Syntakt, and then back to Ableton that routes it finally to the synth. But now if you put this in and this, the MIDI Freak, let's rename it MIDI Freak or Mother Freak. Whenever I play it, now the Moog is playing. You start seeing where this is going. If I now press play, then I have a way to play the Moog from the MIDI Freak, which is a much better experience. And the cool thing is that you can live record. And it's super well quantized. You can do trigger locks and parameter locks. This is really cool in my opinion. So what I like to do is to group these two. I call it subsequencer. And maybe give it a nice color. So now we have this channel strip with an external instrument sending MIDI to the subsequent, and one that gets the MIDI from the MIDI Freak, send it to Ableton, back to the Syntakt, back to Ableton, and then back to the subsequent. And basically I did the same for my Prophet and my Grandmother, so that if I put this track in record mode instead of this one, I can play the Prophet. Similarly, on track 4, I did the same for the Grandmother, so that if I now put this in record mode, I get the sound from my Grandmother with some effects. Alright, this is great. So basically on track 1 we have a kick, track 2 we have the sub, track 3 we have the Prophet, and track 4 we have the Grandmother. Track 5 and 6 I actually put a hi-hat and a snare, just to show you how easy it is to assemble a track in this way. So this is the hi-hat, you can put it like this. If you're enjoying this video so far and you're getting some value out of it, I hope you will not do what I always do when someone does what I am doing right now, which is skip into the next section, but that you will actually subscribe and like the video. I appreciate that. And then we have this that we can also automate. But now it's like the mind-blowing part, for me at least, is that this sequencer is polyphonic. So I can actually record chords on the thingy that I just made now. I'm on track 3, arm record. How cool is that? Bye bye Arthur Beatstep, bye. Okay, the last thing for this video is another super cool thing. Any of this track that we assembled can send MIDI CC to any of these synth in a quite smooth way, I have to say. So let's say we want to send MIDI CC to the grandmother. Then we go in the manual and we choose whatever we want to modulate. Let's try oscillator 1 octave first. So CC 24. Go on the machine. Select the track where grandmother is, number 4. You go in the filter page and you activate, let's say, 2 of these. Then these 2 knobs will control whatever you set here. And here you can set the number. I'm gonna put set 74 here. And the other one can be oscillator 2 frequency number 12. Because when the sync is active, the grandmother has a very cool sound when you modulate the frequency. Let me show you. So this is the oscillator 2 frequency, which is synced to the 1, so give this. And here's the octave of oscillator 1. What is even more crazy is that you can record something here. Still in record mode. And it records the MIDI CC send automation. At any time you can mute anything you want.